Welcome, and thank you for joining us for our emergency preparedness presentation with a focus on natural disasters. I'll start this presentation by saying that it's not a matter of if you'll need to be prepared for a disaster, but when. Disasters disrupt thousands of lives across the U.S. every year, leaving behind lasting effects on people and property. Preparedness allows you to take back control, even in the uncertainty of disaster. A lot of the information in this presentation has been gathered from ready.gov, a FEMA platform that focuses solely on preparedness. They recommend approaching preparedness in 3 steps. 1. Know your risk. Understand and learn about the hazards you could face in your OUTCAN location. 2. Make a plan. Know how to take action before, during, and after a disaster. And 3. Take action. Put your plan into practice. Be ready and able to face disasters when they occur. It should also be noted that if you're in an area with frequent hazard risks, your chain of command may have an action plan in place that you'll want to familiarize yourself with as well. Step 1. Know your risks. Yes, some of these hazards can and do occur in Canada, and you may already be familiar with them. But depending on where you're posted, they may occur more frequently or vary in severity. You can use this map produced by the U.S. Geological Survey and American Red Cross to identify what hazards are most likely to occur in your area. You can also visit the FEMA website listed in the bottom right corner for a more in-depth look at your area and the potential hazards. Regardless of where you live, you should always be prepared for the common nationwide emergencies like home fires, flooding, lightning, and winter storms. In order to really understand the risks, we'll quickly touch on each of these natural disasters, focusing on what it is, where and when they tend to occur, and how to best prepare and respond. Before moving on, I'd like to clarify the difference between a watch and warning. When a watch is issued in your area, for example, a tornado watch, this means there is a chance it could occur and you should prepare. A warning means it is occurring and you should put your preparedness plan into action immediately. Beginning with tsunamis. Tsunamis are a series of enormous ocean waves that can travel 20 to 30 miles per hour, with waves reaching 10 to 100 feet tall along any U.S. coast. However, there is a greater risk along the Pacific coast due to seismic activity. Tsunamis can happen at any time throughout the year and are caused by a large and sudden displacement of the ocean, most commonly due to large earthquakes below or near the ocean floor. Your first reaction should be to evacuate to higher ground as far inland as possible as soon as possible, and it would help to familiarize yourself with the warning signs such as a sudden rise or draining of ocean water. There are over 160 plus active volcanoes in the U.S. The majority of them are located in Alaska, but the western U.S. and Hawaii also have activity. Eruptions may release acid, gases, rocks, and ash into the air. But the main risk for the majority of our locations would be the volcanic ash that can travel hundreds of miles and cause severe health problems. Volcanoes can erupt at any time, but studies have shown that it's 18% more likely to occur during the winter months. Volcanic ash can contaminate water supplies and reduce visibility. It's important to listen to and follow all emergency orders, which will likely be to shelter in place and protect your household from the ash. Earthquakes are the sudden, rapid shaking of the earth caused by the breaking and shifting of tectonic plates. They can collapse buildings and cause heavy items to fall, resulting in injuries and property damage. They can even cause fires, road damage, tsunamis, landslides, avalanches, etc. Earthquakes can happen anywhere with no warning, but 80% occur around the edges of the Pacific coast. Higher risk areas include California, Alaska, and the Mississippi Valley. If an earthquake happens, protect yourself right away by dropping to your hands and knees, covering your head and neck with your arms, and holding on to any sturdy furniture until the shaking stops. If you're outdoors, stay outdoors. Do not get into a doorway, and do not run outside if inside. Expect aftershock. A wildfire is an unplanned fire that burns in natural areas such as forests, grasslands, or prairies. 60% of wildfires are caused by lightning and 40% are caused by human activity. They can happen anywhere at any time, but are often seen between the months of April and September. If you are under a wildfire warning, it is important to get to safety right away and protect against smoke. Roughly 1,200 tornadoes occur in the U.S. yearly. They can destroy buildings, flip cars, and create deadly flying debris. They can happen anywhere, but are most common in the southern plains and upper Midwest between the months of May and June, and oddly enough, between the times of 4 p.m. and 9 p.m. The best way to prepare for tornadoes is to familiarize yourself with the warning signs, such as a wall cloud, severe thunderstorms, green or yellow clouds, hail, etc., and have a designated safe room in your home or workplace. It's important to shelter in place during a tornado, preferably in a windowless room on the lowest level of a building. And lastly, hurricanes. Hurricanes are massive storm systems that form over warm ocean waters and move toward land. Threats from hurricanes include powerful winds, heavy rainfall, storm surges, coastal and inland flooding, rip currents, tornadoes, and landslides, and can affect areas more than 100 miles inland. They can occur along any U.S. coast, with the southeast and mid-Atlantic coasts being the most frequently affected. Pacific hurricane season begins May 15th and Atlantic hurricane season begins June 1st. Both run until November 30th. The most active month is September. If you're under a hurricane warning, you should find safe shelter right away and listen to all emergency alerts. Step 2. Make a plan. Once you've familiarized yourself with the basics, it's recommended that you complete the next 3 tasks. 1. Create a communications plan. 2. Prepare a go bag. And 3. Back up your data. Everyone's safety plan is going to look different depending on the type of disaster, the dynamic of your household, etc. The point is to have your documents protected and your supplies ready to go. When a disaster strikes, your family might not be together, and communication channels might be down. It is important to plan how you will contact one another and discuss how you will communicate in different disaster situations. Listed here are the steps FEMA recommends you take to create an effective communication plan. These steps can also be found in greater detail at the link in the bottom left corner of this slide. 1. Have a list of emergency contacts in your cell phone and near your home phone. 2. Agree on a family meeting place both in your neighborhood and out of town, in case you cannot get in touch or are unable to go home. Program ICE numbers, which stands for in case of emergency, into your phone. If someone is injured, emergency personnel can use these numbers to notify friends and family. 4. Prepare a family contact sheet with names, addresses, and phone numbers of important contacts. You should include an out-of-town contact for family members to get in touch with when they are unable to connect with local family members. Often, during disasters, it's easier to make long-distance calls than local calls. 5. Create a contact card for each member of the family. Keep these cards in a purse, wallet, or child's backpack. Include an emergency contact name and number, an out-of-town contact name and number, a neighborhood meeting place, and any other important information. 6. Teach children how and when to call 911 for help. And 7. Subscribe to alert services. Many communities have systems that will send out text messages and emails with the latest information during a disaster. During a disaster, it's important to know that you should avoid making phone calls except in serious emergencies. Too many phone calls can cause network congestion, meaning people in real, life-threatening emergencies can't ask for help. If you must make a call, keep the conversation brief. You should also keep your out-of-town contact updated on your location and condition. After a disaster, register yourself and your family members as safe and well on the American Red Cross website to let friends and family know that you are safe. Next, prepare a go bag. Items will vary household to household, but consider the following FEMA recommendations. 1. Water. FEMA recommends 1 gallon of water per person per day for 3 days. So a family of 5 would have at least 15 gallons of water stored away. This water isn't just for drinking. It's also going to be used for sanitation, cooking, brushing your teeth, etc. Other options are water purifiers, example the Life Straw, or water purification tablets. 2. Low-profile, non-perishable food items, ideally high in energy. Example, protein or granola bars, oatmeal, pasta, or even MREs, meals ready to eat. 3. An emergency radio with a crank. The purpose being that if the power goes out in your home or community, you still have a way to stay informed. Most of these emergency radios now offer solar charging capability, USB ports to charge your devices, flashlights, and more. 4. A first aid kit. Nothing fancy, just the basic necessities. You need to be able to treat cuts, burns, and small injuries. 5. A whistle. These can be utilized if you're trapped, and you can use them to get attention of first responders. 6. A supply of critical medicines, prescription drugs, over-the-counter medication, and anything you require on a daily basis. 7. Critical government identification, example passports, visas, birth certificates, the things that are hard to replace. You'll also want personal hygiene items such as moist towelettes, toilet paper, toothpaste, a mobile phone charger or power bank, and money, either cash or traveler's checks. This is by no means an exhaustive list, but a starting point. The contents of your go bag should be tailored to your household's unique needs. For example, if you have pets, children, individuals with disabilities, etc. Visit www.ready.gov/kit to continue building your go bag. Step 3 in making a plan. Back up your data. When disaster strikes, your immediate concern will be your safety and the safety of those you care about. However, once the immediate danger passes, having your important documents and identification will be crucial in helping you start the recovery process quickly. Taking time now to safeguard these items by having backups and/or copies all in the same place for easy portability will give you peace of mind and help you avoid additional stress during the difficult days following a disaster. Think passport, visa, birth certificate, marriage license, medical information, even your rental agreement, aka all the things that aren't easily replaced. Lastly, take the time now to think about those priceless personal items you would want to protect from damage or take with you if you had to suddenly evacuate your home. For example, I have a backup of all my family photos on a password-protected external hard drive in my fireproof, waterproof safe, along with copies of the before-mentioned important documents. You can check out FEMA's extensive list of critical documents and valuables by visiting the link in the left bottom corner of this slide. After you've learned about your risks and made a plan, it's time to take action. Your goal is to protect yourself, your property, and manage risk. You can do this by 1. Staying informed by signing up for alerts and warnings. Consider downloading the FEMA app where you can identify your city and receive customized alerts. 2. Review your insurance and ensure you really understand your policy. Did you know most standard insurance policies do not cover flood damage, which is the most common natural disaster in the U.S.? Almost 25% of flood claims come from properties that are not even in a high-risk flood zone. 3. Protect your property. Yes, everyone post at OUTCAN should be renting, so some of the actions you can take to mitigate damage isn't necessarily your responsibility. But you can do simple things like securing heavy objects in the event of an earthquake, checking your smoke alarms, and looking over your property to see if you need to contact your landlord about anything like rogue tree limbs. And 4, last but not least, practice your disaster plan. Review it with your household and make sure it works for everyone. And that is the end of our emergency preparedness presentation. For more information on any of the topics today, you can visit ready.gov or our preparedness webpage listed here on this slide, along with the additional links that were referenced throughout today's presentation. Thank you for listening.